Right, I've come on a mission today. I'm going to set up in that shed over there. And I'm going to try and learn matty flips on this thing, which is a big old piece of mining or quarrying machinery, but it's got this sick arch here. It's pretty big, 22 feet, 6.7 meters. Right, so to quickly explain, a matty flip is basically the opposite of a power loop, where instead of going under an object and around and over it, you go over an object and around and under it. So you sort of have to commit to this like front flip to backwards movement, and it's the first thing I had problems with was committing to it. So I've got a few like that and a few where I just sort of flip over and don't gain any backwards momentum. This one is probably the first one that I had that was even got me under, and I still smacked the floor. So then I decided like I'd try to do this thing, which is like fly forward and then see what sort of it feels like to blip backwards under the object. So that makes it sort of, you know what you're kind of aiming for as the exit strategy. Whereas before I wasn't even really sure what it should look like, because it just feels completely different in the sim. So there you can see that's like a flip forward without an exit. I found also, so this was like one of the earliest first attempts that seemed to go okay. I found that the way it worked out as I went along is sort of trying to keep the object in frame, or at least on the top of the frame, as you go around it. So here you see it zips out, and I don't make it all the way through, I'm sort of underneath it, but on attempts where it's more in frame, you can sort of use it as a reference and sort of roll around it. You see there, I'm using sort of the side wall as a reference as well, the wall of that vertical shed, which I guess in not all situations you would have that. I feel like I got some decent attempts, but I also felt like it's such a big gap. You've got quite a lot of margin for error, which is probably the best place to learn, I guess. But he looks to be okay. Oh, this is not looking good. That's probably why it flies like poo. She's moaning at me. This isn't good. Get me plugged in. I'm gonna want to see if I can get on top of it actually. Well, that was easy. It was like right where. Whoa! Check all these tadpoles out. There's millions of them. Just wriggling around, little wrigglers. It's the tramway. Dive on this would be mad. Turn around. That's the sign from the top. It's pretty cool. Alright, let's get back down and then get to flipping. Oh, this guy won't shut up with his stupid chainsaw. Okay, we're back. So I decided I wanted to try and do the half power loop into matty, because it's a nice sort of, I'm familiar with doing a power loop, and it's sort of just like doing half of a little bit less than a power loop. But then that in itself proved difficult, because you've got muscle memory for a power loop, you don't have muscle memory for half a power loop, which is a bit strange. That was a decent one. That was pretty good, I thought. I did quite a lot more attempts than you'll see here, and there's that little kind of split-S move into a power loop, into a matty flip. That's nice. It's just a lot of it is getting a reference point, I think, and trying to like get yourself into a reference position and then do it. But I think eventually it's just going to be a case of mastering the muscle memory of it and then having it down. So that was okay, but you can see I obviously had to line up really precisely and line myself up for it. Obviously, I probably did have to do that for like split S's and power loops in the very beginning, so I'm guessing it'll be the same. Eventually, I'll just get to a point where I just sort of have a muscle memory for it and I can intuit what I'm supposed to do.